morning. Good morning. Happy what is it? Monday, everybody. I can't tell if I like that new StreamYard music or not. I don't know. I think I like the OG version a little bit better. I don't know. I don't that music sounds like it kind of gives me like you're in a dentist office, I guess, waiting. I kind of like the other music better. I don't know if I can change it back. I'll look into that. But regardless, hopefully you guys had a good weekend. We had a really good weekend, honestly, except for Steven Yeager yesterday. That guy is an absolute bum. Somebody remind me if we're ever talking golf on the stream, we're just not talking about Steven Yeager. I've never seen a golf tournament where two guys didn't want to win as much as Podgator and Campbell did yesterday. And Steven Yeager is just nowhere in the mix. Like, the dude could have came out. This is someone that's won a tournament over Scotty Scheffler before, mind you. He could have came out and shot like 4 or 5 under and won the tournament like handily yesterday. I don't know what he was doing. Absolutely horrible performance. So that tilted me. But other than that, we had a pretty good weekend. Did really good in college basketball. Went 3-1 on Saturday. Once again, when will these bozos stop betting on Illinois? I have no idea. Who? Look, if it's one thing, because you guys know I'm as analytical as anybody, but if I'm watching Illinois, what about Illinois makes you want to bet on them? I have no idea. They're objectively not good, and they're missing one of their best players. I don't understand why people want to keep betting on Illinois. No idea. There's another team too I wanted to talk about that just everybody wants to bet on, and they're just so bad. I don't understand it. And I'm not saying I'm right all the time, but if you have been betting Illinois the last few games, dude, find another team to bet on because Illinois is not good. And if you're an Illinois fan, I'm sorry, but your team is not good. We got some big college basketball tonight. We've got NFL Combine this week. We've got the golf tournament this week is okay. And then next week, we have Bay Hill, which is great. And then we have the Players, which is great. And we got conference tournaments, which is great, right into the bracket and right into baseball. So we're in a good little spot here. I do have an announcement that some of you will not enjoy, but bear with me, okay? The announcement is I know I was just in Vegas and we didn't have the streams, but that was for work purposes. This trip I'm going on now is not for work purposes. So there will be no stream Thursday, Friday, or Monday. We don't stream on the weekend anyways, so we're missing 3 days of stream, Thursday, Friday, Monday. I will be on a cruise celebrating what was a great football season. If you guys followed along, you know how good our football season was. And I have not been on an actual vacation in like 5 years. Anytime I've gone out of town, usually it's for work purposes. So I will be on a cruise starting Thursday through, I'll be back for stream on Tuesday. So apologies that we just missed a bunch of streams. Headed on a cruise myself this weekend too. Any chance it's the same one, Keaton? That would be absolutely insane. Well, okay, you can put, if you're comfortable in the chat, you can post where you're going, and I will say if that is where I'm going also. I've never been on a cruise before, so I don't really know what to expect here, but it'll be good for me to kind of recharge, and then when I come back, we'll be full grind mode. Like I said, conference tournaments, March Madness, baseball season, we're going to be hitting it hard, and it's going to be great. So I know I just missed a bunch of streams and I feel bad, so apologies for that. But once we get through, leaving on a Friday morning. That is not the same one, Keaton, unfortunately. That would have been hilarious if someone that watches the streams, oh my God. Keaton, if we were on a cruise together, oh my God, we probably would have went too hard. I would have been been out of my mind. That would have been fun though. One day, like that would be cool if we could. Like, I would love to like go on a cruise with some people that have followed. We've all anyone that follows me, I feel like knows me because it's been so long at this point. That would have been crazy. But all right, so that's the announcement. I won't be here Thursday through basically Monday. Not that big of a deal, but I just want to keep you guys updated. So if I don't go live, I'll tweet about it too for anyone that's not currently watching the stream. But I don't want people to be confused. Like, I didn't stream when I was in Vegas because some people don't really pay attention. They just watch the stream. So like they probably didn't even know why I wasn't streaming last week. But yeah, trying to keep you guys in the loop on that stuff. For tonight, we've got some big college basketball games. So there's some sides I like we're going to talk about. And then I have the blogs pulled up here on Rolling Insights. Like I said, it's Combine week, so we're not going to have time later this week to dive into the Combine because I won't be here. So we can talk through I'm almost done with my receiver rankings. I'm kind of debating the 4-5 spot, so that'll be up soon. So we could talk about that. We'll talk receivers and tight ends tomorrow. We'll talk quarterbacks, running backs today. And then we'll talk college basketball tonight. There's one side I really like tonight, and I think the majority of people will probably be on the opposite side of me, which, I mean, I'm fine with because, I'm fine with it. I don't know, though. Like, I'm sure, like, the side I'm on is the public side, but I feel like this will be a Twitter, similar to Illinois the last few days. I think this will be like a Twitter POD that we will be fading, but that's okay. And then we have Houston, Texas Tech tonight, which I don't think I'm going to bet on, but just an incredible game. I mean, these two teams, Houston's 3rd overall on KenPom. Texas Tech is 7th. They're both very good teams. Texas Tech kind of been struggling a little bit the last few games. Like they barely beat West Virginia over the weekend, but they also were missing one of their better players who should be back tonight, one of their better shooters. So that will help them out. Texas Tech beat Houston earlier this season, and I'm pretty sure that was the last time Houston lost, if I'm remembering correctly. It is, yeah. So since December 7th, Houston has only lost one time, and it was to Texas Tech by 1 point in overtime. So that'll be a great game tonight. Houston, they've looked very, very good, but then also they probably, they beat Iowa State 68-59 over the weekend, but it really wasn't that close, I don't think. Like, it was a wider gap for the majority of the game. Iowa State was missing 2 key players in that game, so they should have won by more, especially given how well they shot. Because if you know anything about Houston the last few years, they're not historically a great three-point shooting team. But they've been much better this year, relative. I want to fact check that. Let's look. So this year they're shooting 40% from 3 as a team, which is very good, but they don't take a ton of threes. I want to see what they did the last couple years. Yeah, so last year they were at 34.8%, which is 133rd in the country. 2023, they were at 34%, which is 174th in the country. 2022, 33.8%, 171st in the country. So that's a big difference for Houston this year compared to years past. Has been just that outside shooting that they've never had before. They've always been one of the best defensive teams in the country. Jim, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. They've always been one of the best defensive teams in the country, and they've always graded out well offensively because of, they were always good from 2, but more importantly, they're just so good at getting offensive rebounds, getting second chances, and eventually they're gonna score when you can get 2 offensive rebounds on a possession. But this year they have this 3-point shooting that they've never had, and LJ Cryer has kind of elevated. Some other guys have stepped up offensively, so I've been high on Houston the last few years when it comes to tournament time. I'm probably going to be pretty high on them again this season just because of, this sudden elevation of outside shooting that they've never had before. Like, that's going to play a pretty key factor. For example, last year they were 19th in offensive rating on KenPom. In 2023, they were 11th. And in 2022, they were 10th. This year, they're up to 7th. And that outside shooting is, probably a big factor there. So interesting there. But big game tonight, Houston, Texas Tech. I probably will not bet on that game, but certainly will be watching it. There's also Kansas, Colorado. I don't know. I really Kansas looked good against Oklahoma State. We bet that. If you were following along over the weekend, we had Kansas minus 14.5. They look good. Oklahoma State's not good, though. So that was really the first time that Kansas has looked like Kansas, I think, since beginning of the season. They beat Duke on a neutral. It was a close game, but beating Duke really hasn't lost this year. So that was on November 26th. Since that Duke game, they lost to Creighton, lost to Missouri, lost to West Virginia, lost to Iowa State, lost to Houston, lost to Baylor, lost to Kansas State. Back-to-back losses last week against Utah and BYU. So, this team just has not been what they were supposed to be. I think they kind of over-portaled a little bit, and it's taken some time for them to gel. Now, they did look good against Oklahoma State, so we'll see. They have 3-4 games left, and they've got some big games left. They still play Texas Tech once, Houston, Arizona. These are some big games. So that'll be a good gauge to see kind of how they look heading into this Big 12 tournament. And, but I don't know. I'm still not super impressed with them, even though, we hit on them over the weekend. Probably won't be looking to double down and bet them here against Colorado, even though I don't think Colorado is very good. So really, for me, the one play that sticks out on my numbers and my analysis, I like Michigan today over Nebraska. I could see Nebraska being very popular on Twitter. Home, short dog at home. People will be looking to fade Michigan, especially, Michigan, another team that they've been like up and down at times, right? So if we go all the way back to December, they'd had back-to-back losses against Arkansas and Oklahoma. Then they went on a winning streak. And then they lost 2 out of 3 against Minnesota and Purdue. Then they went on another winning streak, 6 in a row over some inferior Big Ten teams, I would say. And then they had that home loss to Michigan State last Friday. So I could see people looking to fade them here. But I like Michigan. I like Michigan in general. I don't really think they're a national title contender, but I think that they're a very good team, and I think they could make a run in the tournament depending on their draw. What teams they're playing. They do have a bigger lineup with, the 2 big men they play. But I don't think Nebraska is very good, personally. And it was kind of like Nebraska had a big losing streak earlier at the beginning of January. They lost 6 in a row to Iowa, Purdue, Rutgers, Maryland, USC, Wisconsin. Then they won 4 in a row, including an overtime winner against Illinois. And then they've lost 2 of their last 3. It kind of seems like, at least like the fans and stuff, like they're not super happy with Hoiberg as coach. Could be, if they struggle down the stretch here, maybe, I don't know, like someone that's a Nebraska fan could tell me if there's like danger of like a coaching change coming. But if they lose to Michigan and then like 2 out of 3 to just Minnesota, Ohio State, Iowa, probably wouldn't be looking pretty good. So yeah, I have no problems fading them even at home here. I don't think they're very good. So Michigan, for me, you can get them, pretty close to even money on the money line. That's going to be my favorite college play tonight. And probably the only game I'll take, unless I'll look after the stream. If I see anything in any like the smaller schools, maybe I'll find an edge there, but I don't really see anything right now sticking out. So it looks like just Michigan for me tonight as my favorite play. We also have North Carolina, Florida State, but my numbers I slightly favor UNC, but I'm just not. I can't bet on them, so they're just so bad. The line is 2.5. I have North Carolina by 3, and I'm just not. I have no reason to bet it, so that'll be a pass for me. So if you're looking for college basketball tonight, for me, Michigan is my only play as of now, and I don't know if I'll add anything else. NBA, I have not looked at like any props or anything. I'll be doing that after the stream. I'm going to start posting. So to get ready for baseball season, I'm going to start doing a kind of getting back to my roots. We're going to do a daily DFS article. So if you guys play NBA DFS or MLB DFS, that will be making a return. That'll be found on rollinginsights.com. So probably just highlighting for NBA my favorite few plays of the day. For baseball, I'll probably ask you guys when we get closer. If you guys have followed for a while, I mean, typically it's kind of like if we think back to my older articles, like some of the pitchers I like and some of the bats. So maybe something along that format. If you guys want me to just do pitchers, I don't know. I mean, we're still going to have the streams and stuff during baseball season, but in terms of the DFS article, that will be making a return, and we'll have NBA stuff, and then get ready for the switch over to baseball in about a month. I think opening day is March 27th. We also have those like random 2 games in Asia that's like 2 weeks before the season. So, I mean, I'm not going to cover those, but opening day is around a month away. So we're going to dial in for that. As for the combine stuff, if you guys have any questions or anything, also just go ahead and ask in chat. This is my top 5 quarterbacks right now. I know most of these guys probably won't throw at the combine. I don't know. We'll see. I know Shador said he's not throwing. How I have this right now, this is a weak quarterback class. None of these guys would be even top. I would probably say even Cam Ward would have been 4th or 5th in last year's class, I think. He had Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. I probably would have had JJ McCarthy above Cam Ward, to be honest with you, or it would have been close. So, I mean, we're talking Cam would have been 4th or 5th in last year's class. Shador would have been, farther down the list. I'm not super high on Shador. I like him as a person. I think he's a good kid. I definitely have concerns about the arm strength, the mobility when things break down. I have concerns about. He's obviously grown up around the game. I think he is pretty good in terms of like a locker room guy, though. So if he lands in the right situation, I think he could have success. I'm not super high on him, though, right now, personally. If I were going to take, like, this is how I have it ranked. If I were drafting a team, I would probably be more comfortable selecting Jackson Dart over him in the first round, because Cam Ward and Shador are probably both going to be first-round picks, and then Jackson Dart is going to be a first-round pick. I think Jackson Dart is more likely. I think he's more likely to be a top 12 pick than to not get picked in the first round. I think Jackson Dart is going to get picked high. So, yeah. The reason I have Milroe 3rd, you guys know I'm a pretty big fan of his. He definitely struggled down the stretch of the season. There's no denial there. But if we look at this, I literally wrote it here. Anthony Richardson was a, very high draft pick for the Colts. Whether that was the right decision or not, probably not, right? At least how it looks right now. But Jalen Milroe is better than Anthony Richardson. Like, that's a fact, I think. And especially in Jalen Milroe was significantly better than Anthony Richardson in college. So I find it super interesting that the Colts were willing to take Anthony Richardson that high based off of how he tested at the combine and his big arm. And Milroe, it feels like no one is like really interested. And I find that interesting because Milroe is a bigger guy, like Anthony Richardson. He's going to run very good. He's very fast. And he has a big arm. Not only does he have a big arm, he has the best deep ball in this class, probably last class. Like, he is accurate with his deep ball, and it's very good. He just struggles in the intermediate and reading the field. Can he develop in that aspect? I don't know. But, I mean, I think he's a pretty close, not close, but, like, I'm not trying to be, like, too, like, and I don't know the word for it, but I do think he comps to Michael Vick. They both have small hands. They both have huge arms. They're both fast. I mean, I think it's a pretty good comp. So I would be fine taking a shot on Jalen Milroe, especially if he's not going to go in the first round. If you look at Alabama versus Georgia on September 28th, Jalen Milroe beat Georgia, who was ranked number 2 at the time. And we didn't know, that was early on in the season. We didn't know what was going to transpire with Georgia the rest of the season. But, still, that's number 2 ranked Georgia. Jalen Milroe beats them. He goes 27 for 33 for 374 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He runs for another 117 and 2. After that game, I mean, I thought Jalen Milroe was going to be like a top 15 pick. And now we fast forward a few months. I don't think he's going to be even a first round pick. So I would be completely fine taking a shot on Jalen Milroe in the second or third round of this draft. It seems like I'm higher on him than basically anyone else at this point, but I'm fine being on that island. I'm looking for upside in the draft, and I do think he has significant upside. So that's why I have Jalen Milroe third. I would be comfortable taking Milroe over Shedeur if it like I'm saying. I think Shedeur is going to get picked pretty high in the draft, but I would rather get Milroe in the second round or whatever than I would take Shedeur top 5 or 6. Personally, 5 spots up for debate. I put Will Howard there now. I do think he's going to rise up draft boards. I also could see Kyle McCord getting some love here. I don't know. Will Howard's an underrated athlete. And yeah, I put him at 5 for now, but these rankings could change before the draft. The one thing that's certain is Cam Ward is number 1 for me in this class, and then there's a big gap to everybody else. So this number 1 spot is not up for debate. He is far and away the best quarterback for me in this class. And I'm hoping, not even that I'm a Browns fan, because you guys know I mostly root for the Eagles, but just being located in Northeast Ohio, I would love for the Browns to get him, just so, maybe I could go see him in person or something. I think that would be fun. But yeah, I have him firmly number 1 in this class. And that's my thoughts on quarterback. If we move over to running back, and like I said, we'll talk receivers and tight ends later this week. But at running back, Genty is number 1, and then there's a big gap. So very similar to quarterback, there's a huge gap between 1 and 2 for me at this position. If you were just ranking out overall players in this class, taking out positions, Genty is probably the best overall player in the entire 2025 NFL draft. If he played any other position, he would be like the number 1 pick. He's that good. So he's firmly number 1. We don't really need to talk about him much. I said an Alvin Kamara like rookie season is in the fold. I completely believe that. He never got a chance at Boise State to showcase what he can do catching the ball out of the backfield. If he goes to the right team in the NFL, he will be able to do that. And I think he, could be offensive rookie of the year and have a huge fantasy season in his first run in the NFL. I truly, truly believe that. I'm very, very high on Caleb Johnson. A lot of people have Hampton, who I have at 5 at 2. How I'm looking at running back this year is Genty, number 1, 2 through 6, maybe 7. You could debate any of those spots. There is going to be a running back renaissance in the NFL in the coming years because of how good some of these running backs coming in are. Like this rookie running back class this year is absolutely insane. There is so many good running backs. I think you could debate 2 through 6 or 7, any of those spots, but I'm very, very high on Caleb Johnson. I think Caleb Johnson is a 3-down back. He is, if you guys don't watch college football, like go watch some of the film on Caleb Johnson. He's got great size. He's got great vision. And I've seen some people have concerns that Caleb Johnson is like slow. No, Caleb Johnson is going to run way faster, I think, than anyone is anticipating. Like he could run probably below like a 4.5, and I think people think he's like 4.5, 4.6. I think he's going to be a below a 4.5, and it's going to be just an absolute rocket ship on his value. I'm really high on. I love Caleb Johnson, so he's number 2 for me. Travion Henderson and Dylan Sampson are very, very close. I talked to Eric Froton at the FSGA conference. If you guys don't know Eric, go follow Eric right now on Twitter. I think his Twitter is just his name. But let me double check for you. It's at CF Froton on Twitter. Go follow my boy Eric. Hopefully going to be having him on some streams this year for college football, but he is the best in the world at college football. And I know he's very, very high on Travion Henderson, and I am as well. So I have Dylan Sampson currently ranked above Travion Henderson, but I think it's up for debate. Dylan Sampson carried the load for Tennessee this past year. He won SEC Offensive Player of the Year. You know how people are with size. They're going to say he's too small. The same thing they said about Devon Achane this past year, and Devon Achane played 16 games. He missed like 1 game because of concussions and had a monster season. So I'm not concerned about the size personally. He doesn't play small. He actually plays bigger than his size. He logged the 9th most carries in the country last year. Great vision, great speed. He's going to be one of the fastest players of any position at the combine. He is going to run extremely fast. So I love Dylan Sampson. I have him at 3. I love Travion Henderson. I have him at 4. Travion Henderson is going to get overdrafted because he's such a good, not overdrafted, but he's going to go higher than a lot of people anticipate just because of how good of a locker room presence he is. He's a great pass catcher. He could play a 3-down role, in my opinion. I think a lot of people will kind of come into the draft saying he's a 3rd-down back. I think Travion Henderson could be a 3-down back in the NFL. But he's very, very good as a pass catcher. He fits very well with today's NFL game, I think. So I love him. And more importantly, which is kind of a theme with some of these Ohio State running backs, he is very, very good in pass protection. And that's going to immediately give him a role. As soon as he steps on the field, he's going to have value because of how well he is in pass protection. So I'm very high on him. I put Hampton at 5. Like I said, a lot of people will have him at 2. The reason I have him below some of these other guys is, 1, I'm just really high on a couple of these other guys. 2, Hampton is very good, but I feel like he kind of lacks the vision that someone like Caleb Johnson or Dylan Sampson has in terms of being able to kind of dissect. And I think that that's going to affect him. He's going to need to go to the right situation to really have a strong rookie season. I think Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson, Travion Henderson, Genty, any of those 4, I think they're going to be good no matter where they go, no matter what team takes them. Hampton, I would probably be more concerned, where he ends up and how that ties to his fantasy value. So that's why I have him at 5. But when you look around at a lot of the other rankings, a lot of people are going to have Hampton at 2. I think he's more high variance in terms of he could be very good or he could struggle depending on where he goes. Any of these 4 guys, I feel pretty safe about. So those are my running back rankings. Receiver and tight end we'll talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so huge college basketball slate. So we'll talk about that as well. Wednesday, we'll talk kind of everything and golf since I won't be live Thursday. So we'll try and cram everything in this week. If you guys have any other questions, you can tag me on Twitter, hop in the Rolling Insights Discord on the Rolling Insights website right here, social pages, click that Discord button. If you want to sign up for newsletter, put your email in here and submit. We're working on a new newsletter format now that NFL is over. So before we were sending out, NFL newsletters, but we're working on something new for that. So if you want my newsletter sent to you, to your email, you can sign up there, hop in the Discord. I'll be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, reach out to me in the Discord, tag me on Twitter, whatever you guys want to do. Michigan tonight for my favorite bet. So if you want to sweat along with that, I'll be taking Michigan on the money line over Nebraska. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck with your bets tonight. Good luck with DFS. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.